It is 3:41 in the morning on February 27th, 2026, and I don't know why I'm awake right now. I really don't. I had every intention of sleeping through the night, but something pulled me out of bed and brought me here, sitting at this table with my hands shaking and my eyes still wet from what I just experienced. I've been staring at this screen for the last 20 minutes trying to figure out if I should share this, because I know how it sounds. I know some of you are going to scroll past this, and that's okay. But there are some of you, and I believe I know exactly who you are, there are some of you who needed to find this video at exactly this moment. You didn't stumble here by accident. You were led here, and what I'm about to share with you could genuinely change the direction of your life before spring arrives. I need to give you a little context before I get into what he showed me, because this didn't just come out of nowhere. I've been in a season of deep hunger. I mean, a real, almost desperate kind of seeking. For weeks, I've been waking up early, spending time in prayer, asking God to show me what he wants from his people right now, in this moment, before everything shifts. And I started to feel this weight building, this sense that something is coming, something significant, and I couldn't shake it. Last night, I finally fell asleep around midnight. I was tired, really tired. But at some point, and I can't tell you exactly when, I became aware that I was no longer alone in the room. There was a presence. And I want to be careful here because I want to describe this accurately. It wasn't frightening. It was the opposite of frightening. It was like warmth and light and gravity all at once. Like the room had become more real than it had ever been before. And I knew. I just knew who it was. He was standing in a meadow. I was there with him. The grass was green and soft beneath my feet, and there were wildflowers everywhere, purple and yellow and white, stretching out in every direction as far as I could see. The sky was that particular shade of blue you only see in early spring, clear and wide and full of promise. And he turned to look at me. And I want to tell you, when he looked at me, I felt like he was looking through me and also for me at the same time. Like he had been searching and he had finally found what he was looking for. I started to cry before he even said a word. He said, "Tell them the time is shorter than they think. Tell them spring is not just a season. Tell them it is a threshold. And what they do before they cross it will determine what they carry into the next chapter of their lives. There are 7 things," he said, 7 things every believer must do before spring, and I need you to hear every single one. So I'm going to walk you through exactly what he showed me, and I have to warn you, the 7th one is the one that broke me completely, so stay with me. He showed me the first thing, and he did it by pointing out into that meadow. I looked, and I saw 2 people standing in the field. One of them was walking with their head down, moving slowly, carrying something heavy on their back. I could see the weight of it in their shoulders, in the way their steps dragged. And the other person was standing still, arms open, face turned upward toward the sky, just breathing, just receiving. And he said, "The first thing every believer must do before spring is put down what winter gave them to carry that I never authorized." And I felt that in a deep place, because I know what that means. Winter is the season where we pick things up: grief, disappointment, bitterness, offense, fear. And we tell ourselves we're just being realistic. We tell ourselves we're protecting ourselves. But he said, "You were not designed to carry winter into spring. The flowers don't bloom under the weight of old ice. Neither will you." So I want to ask you something directly right now. What are you carrying that he never told you to pick up? What offense have you held so long it started to feel like a part of you? What fear have you rehearsed so many times it sounds like wisdom? Because the first thing he said, the very first thing, is that you have to lay it down, not manage it, not organize it. Lay it down in the meadow, in the presence, before you take another step into what he has for you this spring. The second thing he showed me came fast. The image shifted, and I saw a person sitting alone in a room, and the room was full of open doors, like every wall had a door in it, and every door was open, and light was streaming through all of them. But the person was just sitting there with their eyes closed, not praying, not waiting on God, just, frozen. And he said, "The second thing every believer must do before spring is open their eyes to what I have already opened. I have been swinging doors wide open," he said, "and my people are sitting in the middle of the room afraid to move. They're waiting for me to carry them through, but I'm calling them to walk." And this one hit me because I know this feeling, the feeling of waiting for something to feel more certain before you step, waiting for the fear to go away before you obey. But he said, "I did not promise you the absence of fear. I promised you my presence in the middle of it. The doors are open. They have been open. Spring is the season to walk through them." And he said, "Some of you have been praying for a door to open that has been standing wide open for 6 months. You just haven't looked up to see it." So look up, look around you. The second thing is to open your eyes and start moving toward what he has already prepared. Now, I want to pause here and tell you that the third and fourth things he showed me, they're connected. They build on each other. And I'm going to share them both, but the fourth one is going to challenge some of you in a way that might feel uncomfortable. So stay open, stay with me, because what he's showing isn't to hurt you, it's to position you. He brought me back to the meadow, and the wildflowers were moving now, gently in a warm wind. And he knelt down next to one of the flowers, a small one, almost invisible next to the taller ones around it, and he cupped it in his hands without picking it, just held it. And he said the third thing every believer must do before spring is return to their first devotion, not their public faith, their private one, the one that nobody sees. Because I have watched my people perform for rooms full of people while their secret place has gone cold and quiet, and I am not interested in the performance. I'm interested in the private place where you come to me with nothing to prove. And, I started weeping again when he said that because I know the drift. You know the drift. Life gets busy and the devotional time gets shorter and then it disappears and you tell yourself you'll get back to it, but your spirit is like that small flower. It needs tending. It needs the quiet. It needs the private place. The third thing is to return. Before spring. Not after. Before. Go back to the morning minutes. Go back to the quiet room. Go back to the simple and unhurried conversation with him that started everything for you. Then he stood up, and the fourth thing, this is the one that challenged me. He looked at me and he said, the fourth thing every believer must do before spring is repair what they have broken in another person. And I felt a name rise up in my chest immediately. And I think some of you felt a name rise up just now too. He said, I am getting ready to do new things in my people's lives, and I cannot pour new things through a vessel that has an unrepaired fracture. The crack is the unforgiven word. The crack is the apology that was never made. The crack is the relationship you walked away from because your pride told you that you were right. And he showed me two people in the field again, and one of them was holding something out toward the other, just holding it out with open hands, and the other person was walking toward them slowly. And when they met, something happened in the air around them, like a pressure releasing, like the meadow itself exhaled. And he said, this is what restoration looks like in the spirit, and it is required before you step into the new season. So I'm asking you, and I mean this with everything in me, who do you need to reach out to before spring? Who is waiting on the other side of a phone call or a conversation that you have been putting off? The fourth thing is to repair it. Do it this week. Do not wait. Now we're getting close to the fifth and sixth, and I need you to understand that everything is building toward the seventh. The seventh is the one he said will define the difference between those who step into all he has and those who stand at the edge and watch others go in. So stay with me. We're almost there. He walked further into the meadow and he motioned for me to follow. And as we walked, he said, the fifth thing every believer must do before spring is speak out loud what they believe, not what they fear, what they believe. Because I have watched my people confess their problems with great detail and great emotion, he said, and then whisper their faith as though they are embarrassed by it. Your mouth is a prophetic instrument, and right now, in this season, what you are declaring is shaping what you are walking into. And so, this one lit something up in me because I know the tendency to catastrophize, to speak the diagnosis louder than the promise, to speak the bill louder than the provision. And he said, I am not asking you to deny reality. I am asking you to speak a higher reality. There are two worlds, and your mouth gets to choose which one you're building in your own life. Before spring, begin a daily declaration. Speak it in the morning. Speak it out loud. Speak it even if your voice shakes, because spring responds to the voice that prepared for it before it arrived. The sixth thing came while we were still walking, and the wildflowers around us seemed to multiply as he spoke, like the meadow was responding to what he was saying. And he said the sixth thing every believer must do before spring is give something that costs them, not the comfortable gift, not the leftover gift, the one that requires trust, the one that makes your flesh nervous, because every new season in the kingdom is seeded with an act of sacrifice, and I have been watching for the ones who will plant in winter so they can harvest in spring. I want to be really clear that he wasn't talking about giving to get. He wasn't framing this as a transaction. He was talking about the posture of an open hand, the person who understands that nothing they hold is really theirs, and that releasing it in faith is an act of partnership with God. He showed me someone planting something in the ground of the meadow, getting their hands in the dirt, and the ground around what they planted immediately began to shift, to soften, to become ready. And he said, plant before the season arrives, because those who wait until spring to plant will spend the whole season catching up. And then he stopped walking, and he turned to face me fully, and the whole meadow got very still. And I knew we had arrived at the seventh thing. And I almost don't know how to say this next part, because it's the part that undid me completely. So give me a second, because I want to get this right. He looked at me with an expression that I don't have good words for. It was grief and love at the same time. Like watching someone who loves you more than you can understand look at the gap between where you are and where they always intended you to be. And his eyes were wet. I need you to hear that. He had tears, and he said, "The seventh thing, the most important thing is this: let me love you again." And I just stood there because I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting something to do, something to accomplish, another action. But he said, "The greatest crisis among my people right now is not disobedience, it is distance. They have come to serve me from a place so far away from my heart that they have forgotten what my love actually feels like. They know my expectations, they know my standards, but they have forgotten my tenderness, and I am asking them before spring to come close enough to feel it again." He said, "I am not a task manager, I am a father, and I have been standing in a meadow of grace, in a field of mercy, waiting for my children to stop running long enough to be held. And the ones who allow themselves to be held before spring will carry something into the new season that cannot be manufactured, cannot be faked, cannot be performed. They will carry the fragrance of time spent near me, and it will mark everything they touch." And that's when I completely fell apart, because I realized that I had been doing so many things for him and spending so much less time just being with him. And I think some of you know exactly what I mean. You have been busy in his name, you have been working, you have been producing, but the quiet moments where you just let him love you have grown fewer and farther between, and he is calling you back before spring, not to a project, to a person, to him. So here's what I want you to do. And I mean starting today, starting the moment this video ends. The first thing is to sit in a quiet place and just say out loud, "God, I receive your love right now," not as a performance, as a surrender. The second thing is to write down the name of the person you need to repair things with and send that message today, not tomorrow, today. The third thing is to identify the door that is already open in your life and take one step toward it before the week is over. One step, not the whole journey, one step. And I want to pray with you right now. Just receive this wherever you are. Father, I ask you right now to meet every single person watching this exactly where they are. Soften the places that have grown hard. Open the eyes that have been looking down. Repair what has been broken. Fill what has been empty. And most of all, let them feel your love in a way that is undeniable and unmistakable and deeply personal. Let them know that they were not led here by accident, that you had this moment planned for them in your name. Amen. It is now 4:29 in the morning on February 27th, 2026. I have been sitting here for almost an hour with you, and I don't regret a single minute of it, because I believe that what he showed me in that meadow was not just for me, it was for you. And I believe that if you act on even one of these 7 things before spring arrives, you will look back at this season as the one where everything changed. If this reached you tonight, I'm asking you to share it. Send it to someone who needs to hear the 7th thing, someone who has been serving from a distance and needs permission to come close again, because that's who he's really calling, not to do more, to come home. I'll see you in the next one.